Good evening, Meisters. What is going on? Yes, sirs. Go Pacers. How's everyone doing this evening? Hope everyone's doing well. Had a good Memorial Day weekend. It was a little bit chilly here in Indiana, but not bad for a holiday. So, how's everybody? Let's see, I got some new faces in here, or new names. We got a Stacy Garrett, good friend, Deb's True Crime Notebook, Mr. Ruckus Rocks, Miss Carrie Summers. I messaged you today to see how you were doing. I haven't talked to you in a while. Is it Jim Jet 66? Mama Wolf, a new name. GP, Miss Susie, good to see you. Mustang, Beth Gonzalez, Jinx, Boss Mods in the house. Louise, good to see you. And sorry I called you out with that cowboy hat. Eli, good to see you. Karen Hicks, what's going on, Gibbo? And that's Mr. Meister to you. Miss Pam Hurst, good to see you. Let's see. We got Miss Phil Bonds in the house. Deanna. Heidi Nixon down there. Bonita Beach. Hope the weather's nice down there. Well, the reason why I'm doing a live tonight, guys, because I had somebody message me today. And it's like they'd really like to hear my opinion on why there was no DNA at the crime scene for Delphi. And I talked to Ruckus about this earlier today, and he said that'd be a good live to do because it really hasn't really been talked about whatsoever. So I started doing some looking into stuff, and that's where I'm going. I just want to come on here for a little bit, explain a little bit of this to everybody who doesn't understand why there was no DNA out there. Technically there was, but we'll get into that. All right. We do know, according to Tobe Lesenby, at the very, very beginning of this case, that there was DNA. Of course, he admitted that during an interview. Well, then come to find out with people that I talked to, and I can't give names out, and I got the lowdown on the DNA. The DNA was so minute, it was mixed in with Libby and Abby's blood. The sample that they had was so minute, they could only test to see if it was male or female. There was not enough there to gather any markers to be tested because you got to have at least 15 to 20 markers to test or to create a DNA profile. Okay. In this case, my understanding, the way it was explained to me, they didn't even have 9 markers. They couldn't even get 9 markers. So that's the reason why we didn't hear anything about DNA. And another thing is, a lot of people don't know this either, but less than 25% of crime scenes have DNA. And then out of that 25%, less than 1% a DNA profile is created, or they even test for DNA. So that tells you that DNA is very seldomly found at a crime scene. Now, I'm going to go over some reasons to why there was more likely no, or they couldn't get any DNA. So give me just a second, and I'm going to share a few things with you guys. And another thing people are questioning is about when Dr. Core mentioned about the fact that when he did the autopsies, they were able to get DNA from during a swab in the vaginal area but he said the girls were not sexually active, that the hymen was still intact, the whole works. They were never sexually assaulted, is my point is, okay? Hold on a second. Okay. And that's something that can be explained away. Give me just a second here, guys. I'm still working on this. All right, let me know if you guys see that well enough. If you can't, let me know so I can expand it out. Oh, I don't even see it up there. Hold on. Why is it not sharing? Give me a second. Let me go back here. Present. Screen share. Windows. There we go. Is that all right? Can you guys see that well enough? Apparently so. Everybody can see it just fine. All right. It's possible for a crime scene to lack DNA evidence due to several factors, including environmental degradation, contamination, or the perpetrator's actions. For example, a crime scene that has been exposed to heat, sunlight, bacteria, or mold may degrade DNA. Additionally, if the perpetrator took precautions like wearing gloves or mask, or if the crime involved a weapon that didn't come into direct contact with the suspect's skin, there might be less or no DNA left behind. Furthermore, DNA evidence may not be collected or analyzed in all cases, even if it's present. I got some other ones here. Give me a second. Oops. Oh. Running slow. I don't know why. There we go. All right. And it breaks it down on different parts of the reasoning why, like contamination of the crime scene with other people's DNA can make it difficult to isolate and identify the perpetrator's DNA. Collection and analysis. DNA evidence might not always be collected or analyzed in all cases, especially if it's not considered a high priority. Trace DNA. Sometimes the amount of DNA present at a crime scene may be too small to be detected or analyzed. And I believe this is the case when it comes to the Delphi case. The trace DNA was so minute, they can only test to see if it was male or female. Degradation. DNA can degrade over time, making it difficult to obtain a complete DNA profile. All right, got one more here on that subject. I believe. Oh, okay. There's some more other ones here. Here's a more detailed look at why DNA might be absent or degraded. Environmental factors, heat, sunlight, moisture can degrade DNA, making it difficult to recover and analyze. Perpetrator's actions, wearing gloves, mask, or other protective gear can prevent the transfer of DNA to the crime scene. Certain types of crimes, like those involving firearms, may also leave less opportunity for DNA transfer. And I've already read the contamination. Contamination of the crime scene we've already read all that. Now, I think I got one more here. Let me look. Yes. And also limited resources. Some law enforcement agencies may not have the resources or personnel to fully investigate and process DNA evidence, which was not the case when it comes to the Delphi case. And I'll explain that here a little more in detail in just a little while. But like I said, guys, the girls were out there we know from somewhere between 2:30 and 3:30 until at least the 15th. Okay. We know this for a fact that the girls were left out there. The day they were found, they were left out there overnight again. Okay. So you're talking about the elements. You have animals that are out there. You have the cold temperatures, which would freeze anything. You got whatever's on the ground. And then you also got to remember the day before on the 13th, it got in the mid 40s. So that was unusual temperatures for that day. So it warmed up. So they laid in the warm sun for maybe, an hour, maybe two at the most. And the heat coming off of that, what heat there was, once again, can contaminate because of environmental reasons. Now, I've had people question me about what about the DNA in the girls' underwear? It's very how should I put it? DNA could be transferred in any way. In this sense, I believe the DNA that was found in the girls was from their clothing. And why I say their clothing is because we all know if we have kids, we have to wash clothes with our kids' clothes or our spouse's clothes or whoever. And that stuff gets all mixed together. And also, who's ever folding the clothes is leaving DNA. If it's a male folding the clothes, he's leaving skin cells and on the clothes. That's another reason. And there's so many different reasons how transfer DNA can happen. Somebody can sneeze and leave DNA. I know it sounds gross, but it's the truth. And people wonder, well, why wasn't there enough DNA for Richard Allen if it was Richard Allen? Look at him on the bridge, guys. The dude was layered up. He knew what he was doing. The dude ain't stupid. I'm telling you that right now. That's number 6 on the list. Richard Allen was not dumb. He had to have been wearing gloves. And if there was a minute skin cell, it could have happened from anywhere. It could have fell off his face. We just don't know. And I did question why didn't they send this minute sample to the lab to where they can draw, because they have the testing for it now. But back then they didn't. They have it now. And somebody put this in my brain and told me the reason why they didn't test it because they knew that they had enough on Richard Allen to convict him. There was no reason to test that very minute sample. And basically they didn't want to spend 50 grand or more is how I took it. Let's see. Going through the chat. Miss Stacy Garrett is saying, seems like one of those girls would have touched BG at some point trying to get away, but then you have the creek too that could have washed off. You got to also understand he had a gun on him too. So you're not going to try to run I'm telling you, nobody's going to try to run if they had a gun pointed at them. It is just not going to happen. The fear factor set in and they complied to every command that was given to them. Oh, yeah. Like I said, he had to have been wearing gloves because me and Ruckus talked about this before. When he was loading his magazine with rounds, he had to have been wearing gloves because if that's the case, not the case, you would leave trace DNA all over the casing, the round itself. By using your thumb to push that round down into the magazine, you're automatically transferring skin cells to that round. I don't know why they didn't test that either. So those are questions I can't answer, guys. I get sick of hearing about Kelsey's hair. That's another thing. Any common sense person knows if you have a sibling in the house, 9 times out of 10, they're going to be sharing clothes or whatever. In this case, Abby just happened to wear one of Libby's or Kelsey's sweatshirts. And of course, I'm sure there was dog hair on it too because they have a dog. If you're going to have dog hair on it, you're going to have human hair on it. no matter what, especially Kelsey, because it was hers. I know of many times that when I was younger and my brothers would want to wear one of my shirts or something like that, they put it on and one of my hairs would be on the sleeve or something. You know, it's common sense. Let's see. Do you know how many times my son complains about finding a long hair? A prime example. Thank you, Carrie. Prime example. Prime example. Blade having a ball over here. Hell. Yeah, we got a new nickname for Gibbo. He's what is he, the new monarch? Yeah, exactly. Children is going to comply to anything that when fear factor sits in. Exactly, Louise. Sitting in somebody's car, you're going to get one of their hairs on you. Sunny's been doing pretty well. I tuned into her last night for a few minutes. See, I don't shed because what hair I got left. Yeah, but I don't think they're going to. That's a long process right there. You're thinking, how many animals at that vet? You know what I mean? Miranda showing her flex, 14-month member. Thank you, Miranda. Good to see you, Witchcraft. Debbie. I don't know this Debbie. All right. We got a Deb and we got a Debbie. Remember that, guys. We got two of them, but one's Deb and one's Debbie. Going through the chat. See if there's any questions. If you all have any questions for me, let me know. Because this is something that hasn't really been talked about. You know, and I was talking to the Ruckus today also about the video footage of Richard Allen's car driving by the Harvester store, and everybody was always asking, well, how come he's never caught on camera? Well, that's because the camera does not go all the way down 300 to the turn where you go next to the CPS building. It doesn't catch none of that. And everybody's asking, well, what about in the back? And I will admit, Tony Liggett did admit on the stand that they did not check the back of the Harvester store for cameras or anything. Apparently, there was some footprints, Stacy, because it's why they went over to the processing plant, the pig plant, whatever it is, to compare. Yes, I talked to her today. Why? What's up? I see. I keep seeing people say Jill Mosher. I do not see her in here, and I know I don't have Jill blocked. I've been noticing that in a lot of chats. Yeah, I talked to her today. There she is. What's going on, Rescue? And we're just having a chat on why there was no DNA and why there was my new DNA. How Kristen, she's doing fine. She's recuperating. She's at I believe her grandson's graduation today or tonight. Oh yeah. she took her daughter out for her 21st birthday. I noticed she had a busy weekend because her daughter was getting ready to, I think she switched dorm rooms at the college she's at, and that's what Marv was doing all weekend. Why would Jill block me? I'm going to have to look because I know I didn't block Jill. There's no reason for me to block Jill. All right. Well, like I said, if there's anything anybody wants to talk about, let's hear it now because let's get it out in the open and over with. That's why I put this link up here. If anybody had anything to discuss, they can come on up here. We can talk about it. Y'all need the link again. Here it is. Yeah, Debbie, Kristen's fine. She just had a hernia surgery. That's all it was. Oh, good. Thank you, Carrie. Do you think he could have went into the CBS building and changed his clothes? I don't think so because they knew the car was there. So I'm pretty sure they probably went over there and looked, checked out the CPS building because the CPS building, it's a free for all when it was there. You could just walk in and do anything you wanted. The doors weren't locked or anything. Windows busted out, the whole works. So you were able just to walk in there. I still have an opinion. My opinion, good to see you, wife Lilith. I believe he ditched everything behind a Harvester store somewhere. That's just what I think. Frank, newer listener. New listener, have a question. Why do the appeals lawyers ask? I'm not sure what the question is because you cut off the. Transcripts, which ones? Are you talking about from the trial or are you talking about from the initial hearing? Miracle Heart's good to see you. I don't know, GP. Because if anybody's wanting the transcript from the initial hearing, I've had that from the day he had the initial hearing. And everybody was bitching and complaining on the Lulu side because it was sealed. And I'm like, well, you know what? It wasn't sealed when Judge Diener was on the bench. And as soon as Gold took over, she sealed everything, and I already had it. It's unsealed now. I haven't heard anything on Kathy Allen either. And, and I really don't care. I hate to sound like that, but what's there to hear? No, he is not adjusting too well up there, Pendleton, because like I said on my last live, a friend of mine's son's up there for murder, and he's in the same area as Richard Allen, and not for killing a kid, but apparently Richard Allen caused a lockdown for 3 weeks up there for some of the shenanigans he was pulling up there also, threatened guards and stuff like that. Boston Christian, good to see him. The initial hearing, yeah, I posted the document on my YouTube community wall. Yeah, here, let me, as a matter of fact, I'll go ahead and pull it up and read it to everybody. Give me a second, guys. All right, initial hearing. Share. All right, give me a second. Give me just a second. No, sheesh. I hate when I can't open my emails when I got this open. I hate that. Come on. Just how to do it right here. Give me a second, guys. Download. Well, I'll just read it right here. For some reason, I can't open my emails while I'm in StreamYard. All right, I'll read it to you guys. Where's it at? They're bitching and complaining about saying that he didn't have representation at its initial hearing. Well, I'm here to tell you in the state of Indiana, you do not need representation on your initial hearing, because your initial hearing is the day that you go to court to get your charges read to you, your rights, your constitutional rights, the whole works, and the judge asks you if you want them to provide you with an attorney or you're going to hire your own attorney. And here is the actual document that says Order of Initial Hearing. State of Indiana, appeared by Nicholas C. McClelland, prosecuting attorney. Defendant appears in person in custody of the sheriff of Carroll County, Indiana. Defendant is advised of his right to counsel and of his constitutional and statutory rights, the charges against him, and the possible penalties. Defendant advises the court he intends to hire private counsel. Defendant is advised that he must retain counsel within 20 days, as there are deadlines associated with the ominous hearing, which may be waived if not timely pled. Then it says Richard Allen pleads of not guilty are entered. Ominous hearing is set for January 13, 2023. Trial by jury is set for March 20, 2023 at 9. Defendant is ordered and directed to appear on said dates. Failure to appear may result in the issuance of a bench warrant. Signed and sealed by Benjamin Diener, judge of Carroll County. So right there tells you that his rights and everything was read to him. So they're over there bitching and complaining, saying he didn't have to have an attorney. What's up, Farmer? Good to see you, bud. Junior Johnson, good to see you. Sorry I couldn't pull the document, but it's up on my community wall. And if y'all need to go check out Miss Deb's True Crime Notebook, she did another video today. Please go check her out. Hit the thumbs up, subscribe. Burn After Reading, he's been coming up with some good content also. Gibbo, go subscribe to his. I'll Be Frank. Who else we got in? Blade, come here. Let's see. Uh-oh. Who's gonna? All right. Any more questions? Any more concerns? Anybody got anything they want to talk about? Look at Gibbo eyeballing everybody. Yeah, he's in PC. He ain't going to Gen Pop. Never. Because I told you I got a message from somebody that knows somebody that was in Wabash Valley, and they were telling me that there was a hit out on Richard Allen. Blade's chilling now. You ain't behind. Finn says hi to Blade. I want to do as much with Flora Jinx. I think that's one that we really need to hit hard. And if anybody wants to do some lives, let me know, and I'll do it on my end here. Get the discussion going. Yes, they are. Eli. Yes, sirs. Miranda Ugg. Let's see what we got up here. But there was one case that I thought about looking into. It's about that cop that beat his child here in Indiana. I need to look more into that. And I did wanted to cover more of the Jordan Sofer case, but there's really not much more I could do on that case because I'd had people come to me with information and I turned it over to the Wabash Police Department and whatever they've done from there. I've tried to reach out to the mayor. He's the very first detective on the case when she went missing, and he won't talk to me. He says, talk to the detective. And I've done basically exhausted everything on that case. They just don't want to do anything with it, and I think it's wrong. Because I've talked to several different people, even attorneys, they're able to close that case with the information that I have, especially in the file, they're able to close it. Like I said, every detective that I've came across on this file have all agreed that her boyfriend is the one who did it. And now he's deceased. You're looking at least a year, Eli. At least a year. Because they haven't even got the transcripts yet either. And they've got Jody Williams, the court reporter up there in Allen County, has got until June 9th to get him to the appellate court. Trust me, I'm keeping an eye on all that, guys. Yeah, I am not happy about that rescue. Me, Jinx, and Rescue went out there and put a memorial up for Jordan Sofer at the location that her remains were found, and somebody stole it a few months later or took it. I'm not happy about that. I got a suspicion on who did it, but I'll just leave it at that. Got a cowgirl in the house. California cowgirl. Everybody's just saying hi to everybody. It looks like nobody's got anything else to talk about. I thought I'd bring this up. That's why I came live, because I felt like that the DNA was never really talked about. And I was like, that's a good one. Miss Carrie Ann Summers, thank you, ma'am, for the donation. And it was something that they needed brought to the attention because people, all right, let's see. Well, you always got something to say, wife, but it's all right. All I have to say is I hope R.A. never falls asleep again. Maybe his 100 years be sleepless and exhausting on his soul. I don't even think he's going to make it. My own personal opinion, from the information that I've been getting about Pendleton here in the last year or two, Pendleton is getting rough. And if it's anything what people are telling me, he's not going to make it. And I hate to say that. I've got my opinions on how I feel about Richard Allen, and it's not my place to put it out there like that. But y'all know how I feel. And my position on something happening to him in Pendleton, this is what I would do. I'd turn a blind eye to it because he deserves every last bit of whatever he's got coming to him. Oh, trust me, karma's still knocking at his door. Even though he's been convicted, the karma's not over. Like I said, there was such an abundance of circumstantial evidence. Even without any DNA, the preponderance of the evidence, his timeline did not add up. That he changed he actually changed it 3 times, or he actually changed it twice, and then changed into height on his fishing license. Good points there, Kerry. I mean, if anybody went over and watched the latest Fig Solves video, Richard Allen convicted himself. There's one thing he can't get around, and that is the fact that he ran into the teenage girls there near the trailhead and the Freedom Bridge. That's what sunk his ship. That and his, of course, his confessions and the van circumstances. No, Karen Hicks. I've been told that he might get an appeal because of Nick McClellan did not do correctional error during the trial. And the way I look at that, and I did research it by law, he was supposed to correct the error. And the error that I'm talking about is about the Brad Weber videotape showing his van arriving or whatever on his property at a certain time. I think Nick found a way around that, and which would be, the fact is we don't know if the time on that video is correct, how far ahead it is correct, what day it is. It doesn't have none of that. So I think Nick found a way to where he wouldn't get in trouble for that, because there was no specific. They couldn't determine if that video was legit. Hold on. Marv, I already know there was DNA, and I even said that earlier. It was so minute they couldn't get anything out of it. So basically, there's no DNA because statistics show less than 25% of crime scenes have DNA. So you might as well say there was no DNA. Farmer, thank you, Elon Musk, for the Starlink. Yeah, everybody needs to understand when it comes to the appeal process, it has nothing to do with evidence. It all has to do the way that the trial was ran. Let's see. Miranda. I'm gonna put this on the stand, and I'm gonna leave it there. When it comes to the Kleins, there is always a possibility of anything. There could always be a possibility of a second or third person that was involved in this case. But until we have some type of forensics, digital, something, putting them there, we have to stay with Richard Allen. Or Richard Allen confesses to other people being involved, or Keegan Klein decides to come out and tell the truth. Until those situations happen, we have to just go with Richard Allen. I understand we all are all skeptical about if there was another person involved. I'm even skeptical because of everything that's happened. That's right. The crime scene was not sprayed down with no orange cleaner, like we were led to believe or put in our heads a couple years ago. See, there's that defense shit again. Got some good points, wife Lilith. Not necessarily, Junior Johnson. If somebody put the fear of God in him, saying I'll kill your family or whatever, I wouldn't say a goddamn word either. Just saying. He's taking a rap for it all to protect his family, if that's the case. And who is this CYN? She in my chat too? I didn't see her. And she must be somebody's blocked because I don't see her. Unfortunately, those in our prison systems don't always get proper treatment. My good friend was a prison nurse, and she's told me many terrible and unfair. Well, I'm here to tell you right now that my buddy was over here last week, and he was telling me that his son was telling him, you might as well not even have prison guards over there at Pilgrim. He said the inmates run the prison. Going to here. Fuck around and find out. Yeah. Carrie, why would you change that height on your fishing license? Instead of getting taller, you get shorter as you get older. I found out from my doctor. There's CYN. Even I don't even know who she is. My mom won a wrongful death lawsuit when the guards threw my brother aspirated and refused medical care. He had a heart attack at 31. Sucks. Sorry to hear that, CYN. Exactly, GP. You know what's up. Ruckus in here being a clown. Is that what's going on, Linda? Call me a Stas. Oh, I better be quiet. Good to see you, Cryptex. Jinx. I still think the defense team should be held accountable for allowing the crime scene photos to be left unsecured so an ex-employee could leak them out. I don't think it was. I think they tried to use that excuse, but we all know that Westerman had them photos well prior to that because he was consultant to Baldwin on the case, so he had access to all that stuff prior to all that happening. And I'm not buying that shit that he went in there and took the photos without permission. He already had the damn things. If the clients are involved, it may never come out. And if it does, and if there was any kind of connection, it may be years. And then again, if there was, he may just go with, that's what I'm saying. We might not never know, or it's more, the probability of ever finding out is very slim. I should put it that way. All right. I'm just saying, from me and Rescue attending a couple of the hearings on him, it was blatantly obvious that if there was a scheme between me and her, we noticed there was something going on when they put him into the deferral program. And I'm like, oh, yeah, I see what's going on here. Yep, Baldwin then made his calls and got into people's ears. Hey, put him on the deferral program. Let him do a little bit of community service, and this stuff will come off his record. Yeah. You forget, this is in Johnson County, Indiana, and this is exactly where Baldwin's office is at. So he knows all the judges there. Oh, I hope I'm right too there, Karen. All right, guys. I know it's only about a 45-minute live, but I don't think there's much we can cover anymore. We're all trying to die out this Delphi case. Hold on. Wife load had last thing I got to say before I head to bed. It's a bed. The hell? 7 o'clock. The crazy stealing Randy's videos and using them to back their own theories that RA is innocent are scum. Get your own content to prove that RA is innocent. They're doing dirty to Randy right now. His channel got taken down for reasons I don't know. But he's got another one, and he's letting very few people in there and letting them know about it because of the fact is he's been harassed a lot. Oh, shit. My bad. All right, guys. So I'm about to end this live stream for the night. If anything else comes up, y'all know you'll be the first. You know, I'm still keeping it on this case, even though it's in the appellate process. I'm going to let everybody know what's going on with the appellate. So when I hear something or see something, I'll let everybody know. But if anybody needs anything, a lot of you guys know where to reach me at. Here's my email. And for some of you, you know how to personally contact me. If you need me for anything, you know how to do that. I want to thank all the mods for hanging out, keeping my chat clean tonight. Thank you, ladies and gents. Until next time, people, thank you, everybody, for coming out. You know what time it is. Peace out. One love. Good night, guys.